Hey gang, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew Wolfe, and today we're going to be talking about Boulder, Colorado. And we're going to be talking about where not to live in Boulder. All right, guys, so I hit you with kind of a clickbaity title there, so sorry about that. But, let's break the glass here. There's no real bad place to live in Boulder. There's no place you don't want to live. But what I do see sometimes is like a misalignment with kind of the general vibe of a neighborhood and what that neighborhood really excels at and what property owners, someone shopping is really looking for. So it's really important to have a great idea about what, you as an individual or you and your family or you and your investment partners are looking for when you're shopping anywhere, but particularly in Boulder, Colorado, because the neighborhoods do have their own individual, vibes and individual thing that they really strive for and what they've owned as a community. And I always want to make sure that's well aligned because that can make a big difference in what your experience is like every single day in Boulder. So you're making the big trip, you're moving across the country possibly, you're making a pretty significant financial investment in buying a home in Boulder. I'd hate to see you not feel comfortable in your own neighborhood. I think that you can probably make it work and it's pretty easy to get around. But if we're shopping from an ideal strategic perspective, let's go ahead and aim for what we want. So we're going to talk about a few different neighborhoods in Boulder and talk about just my individual opinion about what their vibe is like. And, you can use that information to help make your informed decision. Obviously, I'd love to talk to you guys individually and strategize about the best step going forward, but let's go into it. All right, let's start off with the Hill. So the Hill was kind of generally considered to be, a student neighborhood, a university neighborhood. A lot of different folks live there, but a lot of students will choose to live there because it's got a really kind of fun, happening atmosphere. Lots of bars and restaurants, great easy access to the university campus. So if you are, people who are looking for a little more mellow, a little more laid back, a little more quieter neighborhood, it may not be the best fit. But if you are a person who's moving to Boulder, looking to jump in with both feet, really looking for that active, let's go meet some people, let's go make some friends, the Hill could be a great fit. All right, let's talk about downtown or the Pearl Street area. So this is going to be, generally speaking, more condos. There are single family homes out there, but usually looking at, smaller spaces, smaller footprint of the homes. It's going to be another busy, happening neighborhood. Relatively easy to get to the university. It's not going to be as close to the Hill, but you are going to see buskers. There's are going to be a lot of events at the Boulder Theater. There's going to be people out in the street walking around pretty often, a lot of foot traffic, a lot of great bars and restaurants are easy to access. So again, if you're that people that's looking for, not the same vibe as like a big city, but you do want your neighborhood to be active and engaging and kind of happening at, all different hours of the day, it's a great place to be. So yeah, if that's you, I would check out Pearl Street, check out downtown Boulder. All right, guys, let's talk about the west side of Boulder. Get into the Flatirons, get into the foothills a little bit, the great hiking, biking, walking paths. It's just drop dead gorgeous, guys. It's a really beautiful place to live. But now I would say this is going to be one of the more premium priced areas in Boulder. You're looking at, generally speaking, larger homes. And what you're really paying for, though, is going to be that access to nature. A little quieter, certainly the neighborhoods we spoke about so far. But if you are more budget conscious, it may not be the best fit because it's going to be tough to separate that premium pricing away just from the area. But West Boulder is gorgeous. If you're looking for, hey, I want to be able to step out of my backyard and right into Chautauqua, it's a great place to be. All right, now let's kind of flip to their side and talk about like the far eastern side of Boulder. So it's not going to have the same access to nature that West Boulder does. It's not going to be able to step, generally speaking, right into like a walking path or a biking trail. That said, there's not really any place in Boulder that doesn't have great views to the Flatirons. You're going to be able to just take a few minute drive or ride your bike to nature. And it is going to be, a little better fit for someone who is more budget conscious, especially relative to some of the other neighborhoods we're going to talk about and we have talked about so far. So if you're looking for maybe a little larger home, you're okay with getting in your car, hopping on your bike and driving to nature instead of being able to bike right out of your back door, and you're a little more budget conscious, East Boulder's a great place to be. And I love East Boulder, guys. Really can't beat with a stick, especially for the value. All right, guys, I'm talking about North Boulder, getting to like Wonderland Lake or even Gunbarrel, which is technically a different town, but it's got, it's basically Boulder. You're going to definitely see, a little bit newer homes, right? So that part of the city got built a little more recently. You're going to see maybe some newer townhouses and condos, some newer single family homes, and also some somewhat larger single family homes. Like I said, Wonderland Lake has access to a lake. Generally speaking, in Colorado, water is hard to come by, and obviously having that there is a great way to access it. There's great trails that widen throughout there, and it's really beautiful, and it's not that hard to get to downtown Boulder or the west side from there if you want to go soak in some of the more premium features we've talked about so far. So if you like maybe a little closer to the foothills, a little easier access to the mountains by a few minutes, that's another great reason to look up there in North Boulder. It is going to be a little more, suburban feeling. There's not going to be as many big long strips of bars and restaurants as you may see in like, downtown Boulder or the Hill. But it's got its own cool culture. There's definitely a place to go out and eat. There's definitely stuff to do. And if you do want to hit up some of those other kind of more fast-paced neighborhoods, it's not too hard to get to. But if you're looking for more like, hey, I want to be able to, ride my bike or, drive into Boulder, I want to have my own cool little neck of the woods in Boulder, Colorado, but not have as much of, a hubbub as we would in some of those, newer neighborhoods we spoke about, hey, check out North Boulder, and especially Gun Barrel. It's going to be a really, really great, efficient use of your dollars for investment. It's going to be a really great value there. It gives you access to Boulder, but not quite the same premium prices we've seen in some other neighborhoods. As we get into South Boulder, that's going to be some of my personal favorite places to live. There's really cool old Boulder neighborhoods. There's really beautiful old Boulder homes, 2-story Victorians. They're really, really gorgeous, have a ton of character. And, if you're looking for efficiency, the south side is really easy to hop on the 36 and commute into, Denver or the Denver metro area if that's where you work, which is the case for a lot of people. So I would say South Boulder's got that cool old Boulder vibe. Brick homes, really cool white columns. It's stuff that I'm kind of a sucker for. So if you like that cool Boulder old Colorado architecture and/or you work in Denver, you want to have an easy commute in, I would say South Boulder is a great place to be. It's not going to be the same kind of price tier as the west side with the access to the mountains and the Flatirons. It's going to carry its own premium, and there's certainly ways, like we talked about, to shop at any budget, and South Boulder is no exception. But I think for my money, South Boulder is where I would want to put myself and my family, because I think it gives you great access to Boulder, gives you a little bit more peace and quiet, I guess, relative to the hill and downtown. It gets you a really cool, old, beautiful Boulder home, and you can head into Denver, whether you want to go catch a Rockies game or if you work there, or just want to go catch a different bite to eat than what we have here in Boulder. So I would say South Boulder's got a ton of all-around value. I think it's a great fit. We kept it kind of general here, talking about north, south, east, west Boulder, but there's obviously tons of like micro neighborhoods that we'd want to talk about, especially when we're strategizing around like the type of home you're looking for and just the general vibe. So if any of these struck a chord with you, or if you're just curious about, where you and/or your family might fit into Boulder, I'd love to have a conversation. Obviously, Boulder's really accepting. You can put yourself anywhere, and I'm sure you enjoy it. But, there are differences in architectural style, access to the city, access to some great, land and nature features that you want to consider when you're picking your spot. So love to connect with you guys individually. My phone number, email, all that good stuff's down below. So feel free to reach out, call, text, email, whatever the case is. I love connecting with you guys individually. I also love making these videos, and I would love to hear a comment from you. I respond to all of them, so if you have any questions, feel free to fire those out as well. Again, that's Andrew Wolfe here. Let's shop strategically when we're talking about Boulder, Colorado. Anyone can make it work. I'm happy to help with you and make the best plan for you and/or your family to make Boulder your next home. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys real soon.